Okay, good afternoon guys, and welcome to our Springboks squad announcement for the upcoming clash against the Wallabies. We've got Jacques Minauber, Rassie Erasmus, Marco van Staden and Katie Arendse. Can we start with English questions please, and then in the last couple of minutes we'll go to Afrikaans. And then just for an even split, because we've got quite a lot of media here today, just raise your hand when you want to ask a question, and then we'll get to you. So fire away.
Jacques, maybe start us off with the way you guys, your thought process in splitting the squad, and why certain guys are here and why certain guys are not missing.
We decided to split the squad because we just out of experience know that it's probably impossible. Not impossible, but very difficult if you go and play a test match in New Zealand and you play a test match in South Africa on the Saturday. You have to fly out on the Sunday evening and you only get there on, if my memory serves me correct, we haven't been there since 2019, but you'll only get there like 12 o'clock on Tuesday, late Tuesday. So you only have one training session, you know. So we decided to do that to give us the best opportunity to do well in both test matches. Obviously, the team that we selected for this one, we believe is good enough to compete with Australia, and then have a couple of guys there that probably will physically get over the jet lag once we get there on a Monday, and so they're ready to go from Monday for the test match against New Zealand. We actually probably feel that that's showing respect both sides. You know, that's why we kept them until as late as possible, so we can give the team that's going to play against Australia the best opposition and preparation time available, and then the other guys are fresh when they get there.
And just a word about Jean Klein, make his debut.
Happy for him, obviously for him and his family. Myself and Rassie came a long way with John from Stormers days, you know, and then at Munster. So happy for him and wishing him all the best.
Can I maybe just say, with the two squads split, like you got the team announcement there, just Ox picked up injury on his pec in the training session, so there's a bit of that around him, which we'll find out later this afternoon. So as we said last week, we were keeping some flights on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, depending on how ready our team is prepared for Australia. And obviously with him being in that, Kitsi will stay behind until we got 100% clearance. And if Ox is out with that back muscle, then Kitsi will move into the team.
Just on that, is it a bump, or do you suspect it could be something more serious?
I'm a bit worried about it, to be honest with you, but I mean, you know, Ox is not a guy who stops training. He's a guy who normally bite the bullet and go through training. So I'm a bit worried about it, but let the medical team tell us tonight how serious it is.
All of them are attacked, so you must check up the one.
Jacques, with the 6-2 split, is that an indication of maybe the onslaught that you're expecting from Australia physically?
Yes, listen, I can't give a comment on Australia. I'm not sure what their team is even going to look like. So it's just what we feel. The guys that we keep here, especially if you think with the versatility we have in Damian Willemse and with Grant Williams that can cover us on wing and 9, I think it gives us the best opportunity to go with a 6-2 split, and it's something that we've used in the past with success. Obviously, there is no perfect scenario, 5-3, 6-2. There's always a little bit of risk in both. But for us, we feel with the cover that we have on the bench in those two players gives us the luxury of going with a 6-2 split.
Annemie, can I add to that? Sorry, man. Just the other thing that may be interesting for you guys and ladies is that when we play World Cup, there's some 5-day turnarounds, there's longer turnarounds when you get to quarterfinals, if you get to quarterfinals. And the way we've structured these 2 weeks is obviously with we training yesterday and today and not this afternoon and tomorrow is obviously a bit different than where we normally train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon and Thursday off, and then Friday's the captain's practice. We also rejig that a little bit just to see how it works when we get to those things in the World Cup pools. And also then it gave us the opportunity to get the New Zealand boys when they're there. Well, the bulk of them, as you would count, there wouldn't be a full squad on that side. So it's more them being fresh, who can focus on New Zealand from now on, because they've only focused on Australia. And I think sometimes that's going to happen as World Cup as well. So definitely eye on the rugby championships, but the 1 foot almost trying a few things with the specific squad.
Jacques, if I can ask you, if you look back at last year's test against the Wallabies, those 2 tests, which one did you learn more from?
Probably both. But the loss probably embeds in your brain the longest. And yeah, probably I would say the loss, because we had to find some solutions into going into the second test. Yeah, so the loss.
Jacques, just follow up probably Rassie as well on the 6-2 split. When time is right for Pollard to return, might you probably be looking at Pollard getting into the number 12 jersey on a similar type of split, depending on the different games?
Well, definitely. I know we've used Andre many times when he moved in a game 12, which worked really well. But it's far away from being ready now. We're talking end of rugby, definitely the after rugby championships. But Damien Willems is obviously somebody that can cover that 10, 12, 15 for you have to. And I think just to maybe say, it's never a disrespect or a fear of the opposition as forward pack. It's sometimes just you want the best 23 players in your 23. Because if you can use all 23 of them, I think you've got a better chance. So to just always go the traditional route, where you sometimes pick somebody in a certain position, but he might not be as good a rugby player as the other player. So we just try always to pick the best 23 players for that specific game with the opposition in mind. So we won't always go over 6-2 split. We might not go next week, especially after the taxi and then flying over there and the load the guy's going to take.
Rassie, Eddie Jones said that he would have loved you guys to pick your best team, which it won't be like that. Can you understand if the Australians will be disappointed or feel a bit disrespected that you haven't picked your best team this week?
Well, I can tell you we definitely don't disrespect them. That's why we're only letting the guys fly across tonight, and 1 or 2 might only fly across tomorrow, because we want proper preparation. We've been preparing for 3 weeks for Australia. And I think it's more respect for the competition. It's not a lack of respect for Australia, it's respect for the competition. I mean, we would not really have a chance against New Zealand if we arrive there on Tuesday and have 1 training session after we play a quality side like Australia. So no, I'm pretty sure it will be a very competitive match on Saturday. I think Eddie will get that.
Australia are in the same boat. They've got to go back to Australia and play Argentina next week. Are you surprised they brought their best team over here?
I can't talk for them, but I do know they've got 2 home games in Australia, where we don't. We fly to New Zealand and fly back here. They go home and stay home for 2 weeks, so it's a bit of a difference.
Jacques, second start in a row for Marnie. You guys looking forward to seeing how he does again, and just a word on pairing him up with Quilvis there as the halfback pair.
Looking forward to give Marnie a little bit of a go and start him again. Obviously, he was good last time out, and it will be interesting. I think that combination will be quite exciting between Marnie and Quilvis. Yeah.
And sorry, just one more on. You've got Dwayne and Lukhanyo both starting. Must have been tough to pick between them who was going to be captain. What sort of made you switch towards Dwayne rather than Lukhanyo?
I think in terms of captaincy, it's actually, I wouldn't say it's a tough decision. We know Sia is our captain, and we will have some interim captains leading up to the World Cup. And we are fortunate that we have a lot of good captains within the side. Dwayne is one who's captained the South Africa before. even there's multiple. I mean, Fukatsi at this franchise level, there's multiple good leaders here. So I won't say it's a tough decision. We're happy with Dwayne and the leadership that he gives, and we know him, and he's a cool, calm head, lots of experience. So yeah, no, it's not a difficult decision for us, captaincy.
I was just going to say, what team do you think Australia will pick and what do you see as their big threats? I know they won't name their team until Thursday, but what have you identified there?
Yeah, listen, I think if we go into what we think, I'll only speculate. But obviously they've got a quality squad here, and we expect a very good team, whoever they select. But we will just purely speculate in terms of who they will select. I don't know.
I think that's just to answer your previous question. That's why it's so difficult to prepare for Australia. It's Eddie with all the new coaching staff that he brought in. It's players that he hasn't worked with for a while. You know, we don't even know how long they've been in camp. You can't analyse the previous games that they played for Australia, and you can't go and look at how Eddie coached at England because they've got different players. So we're actually respecting him. I mean, a guy like, I think it's his 11th game, but his first start. I think it's Mani's first official start. So, and I think that's what we want to learn. And again, to get back to the respect side of things, if we see the players who are starting in this game making it against Australia, it gives us good answers what we can do in a World Cup against big teams.
Jacques, I know that it's out of your control because of COVID and a lot of things, but how weird is it that the Boks are only playing Australia at home for the first time since 2019?
Yeah, no, it is quite weird. I mean, we've been there for 2021 and 2022, so it's nice to have them here with us again, and likely going to New Zealand. You know, it's the first time that we will play in New Zealand since 2019. So it's weird that you have a whole stint as a head coach, and you're only going to play one test match in New Zealand. It doesn't normally happen like that. But yeah, like you rightly say, it's COVID, and just happy it's back to normal. It's nice to have Australia here. It's nice to play them here, and it's going to be awesome for us to play New Zealand in New Zealand again. There's always a lack of vibe.
And has the absence of Super Rugby, for again reasons that are beyond your guys' control, made preparing for these games slightly more different and difficult? Because watching guys in terms of analysing them and actually playing against them week in, week out are two totally different things.
Yeah, I think obviously we keep a quite close eye on the Super Rugby, but I would say the difference is probably just the fact that in the URC sometimes the weather conditions is a little bit different. Especially if you go and play on a windy, wet day in Connacht. I mean, you can't play the same type of style that they play in Super Rugby. So I would probably say it's fair to say that Super Rugby is probably a little bit quicker sometimes or more regularly. But on the back end of that, you might have a nice dry day on a 4G pitch in the URC where the game is just as quick. So I think that's probably the difference, I would say, between the two competitions. But we're fortunate that we can play in the URC competition and also then compete internationally with the Southern Hemisphere. So you get a little bit of both.
John, what's the plan with Eben? Is he ready to play in New Zealand? Or how far is he with his recovery?
Eben and Sia, sorry, again, I spoke to the doctor this morning. Yeah. Eben and Sia is also going with on that side. Sia obviously not playing, but with the three management members going across as a conditioning coach, a physio, and a manager, we can give a good treatment, one-on-one treatment with Sia, knowing when his target is, and obviously his captaincy whilst working with the guys on that side is hell of important. And Eben will definitely be in the mix for that game. He'll be ready to play there.
Jacques, going back to Dwayne, there's been quite a lot of speculation that in terms of the World Cup, he might be the sort of guy that you look on to come on in the final quarter and just bring a really sort of cool head. You mentioned his experience and all of that. Obviously, starting this weekend though, how much of that was because of your hand being forced a bit with the captaincy, or do you still see Dwayne as being, you know, he can fulfill other roles? He can start for you and play for an hour, or come on at the back end of the game?
No, definitely. I think definitely both roles, and we will never. Like I mentioned, the captaincy is not a difficult thing for us. It's not a difficult decision. There's a lot of good leaders and a lot of guys that will do their country proud as a captain. So Dwayne definitely see him as fulfilling both, you know. But there is a Jasper who's playing well. So obviously it's probably going to go on performance in terms of who will probably start or not.
Maybe just in the captain's story, I'm chipping in all the time. But people might not agree with that, but we tend to feel somebody that's close to the referee. Sometimes better suited to be a captain because the referee is never standing in the back line when there's a scrum being formed or a line out being formed, and communication, which is one thing, and the respect we want to show the referees in this year is something, as you all know, we're trying to rectify and get right. And the closer the captain is to the referee would obviously be beneficial, not just to communicate, but also understand and listen and hear what he says, and the other way around. So loose forward and 9 is always a nice position to be a captain.
Rusty, you've got a lot of history with Eddie going back to the World Cup final and prior to that. What was your reaction to his appointment? Were you surprised that he's come in at such short notice with Australia, and you know he's done it with England, turned things around quickly, and you've had experience with that too. Do you think it's possible so close to a World Cup to make big changes?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I can tell you he can definitely do it. And I said it last week because I think he works with Australians, and he doesn't have to get used to the way they think, the way they operate, the way what makes them tick, what gets them up, what makes them last longer in the game and be more physical, whatever the case may be, or more tactical and technical. And I think Eddie might have, in my opinion, missed that a little bit when he moved around between countries. He was with us in 2007, and just before we went to the World Cup, me and him swapped, and he went over with the team. I was about 2 or 3 days working with him, and then we've coached against him many a times. You know, I think Eddie has come from losing with the Queensland team, I think 100 something against the Bulls, but turned things around and won big titles and beat with Japan the Springboks. You know, so he can turn things around, and especially with a country which is his country. You know, so I think he can definitely do.
Marco, you're back in the Springbok mix after being out for a bit. You're happy to be back, looking forward to it. And how tough is it to sort of come in a World Cup year, and now you sort of got to fight with some very established guys for a spot on that flight to France?
Yeah, no, it was a bit time out, but yeah, I'm grateful for the opportunity and to get a chance to play again. Yeah, I think it's a healthy competition. I think everyone is pushing each other, and we have all good relationships, and I think it's to bring the best out of each of us. And I think that there's a bigger picture rather than individuals. So we're representing a country, and if we can bring the best out of each other to get the best guy on the field, I think that will be the goal.
It's nice being alongside Dwayne and Peter Steff again. You played with them before, and nice back three there to go into the last match with.
Yeah, no, it gives you confidence playing with Peter Steff and Dwayne. That has obviously a lot of experience, and me playing with Dwayne when he was at the Bulls. So yeah, that definitely helps. Yeah.
Marco, as an open side flanker, are Australia the toughest guys for you to play against? They always seem to put a lot of emphasis on a lot of effort. They go hard at the breakdown, and they've got some really good practitioners there.
Yeah, so they are obviously good poachers, and it's a focus point of them to put our breakdowns under pressure. So yeah, it is obviously a threat, but yeah, I think each team these days have good players that can poach on the ground. So I don't think you focus on it one game and don't focus on the next. I think every team wants to slow that part down, because you have over 100 breakdowns a game, and where you only have maybe 8 scrums and a few lineouts. So I think it's a it's a big part of the game, and I think it became a big focus for all teams.
Marco, Loftus will be back on Saturday. A nice home game for you.
Yeah, it's definitely home, and yeah, some of us haven't seen Loftus packed or played in front of a packed Loftus for a long time. Especially franchise level, it doesn't get as full as it can be. So no, I think all of us, me, Kurtley and Woody, being at home, it means a lot, and it's going to be very special.
Kurtley, you've got quite a record. I think it's 7 tries and 6 tests. Looking to actually add one there at Loftus.
I must say I'm grateful for another opportunity, and just looking forward to the game and contribute to the team, and looking forward to it.
And just playing at Loftus, starting a test there, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, like Marcus said, it's going to be special. Playing in front of the home crowd and representing the country, it's going to be special.
Any further English questions? Then we can switch off the call. Okay.
Kurtley, this will be you're going into your second year of international rugby. Just tell us, what were the main things you learned from your first year at international level? It was obviously hugely successful for you personally.
I must say the first thing I've learned was the coach said if you make a mistake, forget about it and just focus on the next job, and that was one of the big things I've learned, being in the system.
Rassie, kan jy dalk die vraag herhaal in Afrikaans oor span wat julle gekies het, nie teken is dat julle gebrek aan respek vir die Wallabies nie?
Ja, ons seker die respek of 'n tekort aan respek vir Australië nie. Ek dink ons het groot respek vir die kompetisie en ons wil bitter graag die kompetisie wen. En ons weet Australië het 2 wedstryde by die huis. As hulle klaar gespeel het, gaan hulle terug en dan speel hulle, ek dink, Argentinië en dan hulle week af en dan speel hulle Nieu-Seeland. Jy weet so, ek dink hulle draw is 'n bietjie makliker as ons in. Ons moet hierdie eerste 2 weke moet ons deur 'n klomp tydzones vlieg en ek dink uit respek vir die kompetisie wat ons graag wil wen, het ons genoeg respek vir Australië gewys en ek dink die span wat gekies het, as jy kyk na Frans Malherbe, Bongi, ek dink as jy Pieter Steefs de Tooy, as jy net kyk na daai hele pak, Marco wat al baie games gespeel het, Dwayne, Kobus Reinach, ek dink hier Lucanio Kurtley, Kainan, ek kan onthou die hele span, ek dink dit is 'n span wat enigstens afsteek teen die ander ouens wat aan daai kant is, ons het regtig 2 spanne try 'n bietjie uitbalanseer en baie van die ouens wat hier so speel sal involved wees aan die ander kant ook. So nee, dis uit en uit net om ons die beste kans te gee om in albei wedstryde en weer eens om ouens te toets teen spanne soos Australië wat ons gaan nodig hê om te weet in die World Cup, jy weet, en oukies gaan 'n kans hê, of ouens gaan 'n kans kry Saterdag om dit te doen en vir ons te sê, okay, ek kan dit doen.
Ja, net in terme van die oop kante, ek meen, almal weet hoe belangrik is CA, jy weet, en as hy beskikbaar is, jy weet, dan sal hy in gewone jaar, jy weet, gewoonlik meeste van die wedstryde speel en dinge, maar vind jy dit 'n bietjie lekker om vir die volgende paar weke amper soort van 'n skoon bladsy te hê dat jy die ander ouens wat jy geïdentifiseer het, soos Marco, jy weet, 'n bietjie kan nie net, jy weet, speelgeleentheid gee, maar nog meer goed van hulle leer, omdat hulle 'n bietjie meer, jy weet, geleenthede gekry het, jy weet, en net verder diep te bou vir die wêreldbeker dalk wat kom?
Ja, ek dink dis altyd sleg om 'n ou soos Sia te verloor of om een van jou groot spelers te verloor wat jy al 'n lang pad mee stap. Maar dis die negatief daarvan, maar die positief daarvan is soos wat jy sê, partykeer kry ander spelers geleenthede, jy weet 'n ou soos Sia sou nooit daar gewees het as daar nie iemand seer gekry het voor hom of daar nie 'n geleentheid vir hom geskep is nie. So ek dink ek kyk maar probeer altyd daarna kyk na die glas is half vol, is half leeg en soos jy reg sê, dit gaan 'n paar spelers die geleenthede gee om te begin en te kan wys en daai experience te kan optel, soos Marco nou, jy weet, soos Rassie gesê het, ek dink dis jou 11de toets nou, Marco, 10, 11de, so hy het al 10 gespeel en almal van die bank af en dis sy eerste begin, En volgende naweek weer gaan iemand anders die geleentheid kry. So of dalk Marco weer soos Rassie gesê het, is nie noodwendig te sê dat die ouens wat nou gegaan het gaan begin nie. Van daai ouens wat nou Nieu-Seeland toe gaan is net daar, van hulle is net daar om die oefeninge te maak werk, jy weet, en dit gaan alles afhang van beserings, gaan afhang hoe ons doen aan die kant. So ja, maar dit is sleg om iemand te verloor so Sia, maar as jy kyk na die glas half vol, dan is dit lekker om ouens soos Marco die geleentheid te gee, en ek dink dit is ook lekker vir hulle om 'n geleentheid te kry.
Ek wou net gevra het, ja, help dit ook eintlik, wil ek amper sê dat jy in so 'n belangrike posisie veral teen die Aussies, jy weet, 'n ou eintlik het wat 'n homegrown specialist, wil ek amper sê, jy weet, hy ken loftes, hy ken sy veld, jy weet, dit help ook seker maar partykeer 'n bietjie met die intangibles en daai tipe dinge.
Ja, ek dink jy's 100% reg, en ek dink soos Marco nou gesê het, ek dink elke toets vir enige speler is spesiaal, of dit nou in Pretoria is of in Bloemfontein of in die Kaap, jy verteenwoordig jou land, ek dink Kurtley het dit genoem, en dit is die spesiale ding daarvan, maar jou familie is hier en al die mense wat jy ken is hier, sal 10-1 by die toets wees, so ek dink ja, dit sal spesiaal wees om voor hulle te speel.
Jacques, hoe moeilijk om was dit om Joan te kiezen als kapitein en wat verwacht je aan ons als speler?
Ja, in terme van die kapteinskap, baie keer is die vraag, is dit moeilik vir ons om 'n keuse te maak soos tussen Dwayne of daar is Lucanio wat al ek dink in die SA span was hy kaptein geweest in die Britse en Ierse, so daar's 'n klomp sterk leiers in die span, maar dis nie 'n moeilike besluit vir ons eintlik nie, omdat daar soveel leiers is. Ons weet dat Sia is ons kaptein, wêreldbeker kaptein, maar en dat daar 'n interim kapteins gaan wees in die pad na die wêreldbeker toe. Maar ja, Dwayne was ons kaptein laas gewees, ek dink in 2019 ook, toe Sia ook beseer was in die laaste 2 toetse. En ja, so ons weet wat ons in hom het, en hy's 'n baie ervare speler, en is ook lekker om, as jy dit voorheen genoem, is lekker om 'n voorspeler te hê, 8ste man en 9, iemand wat naby aan die referee is, wat ook dialoog met hom kan hê. So dit maak 'n bietjie makliker in terme van die posisie. So ja, nee, en wat verwag ons van Dwayne? Dwayne moet net bring wat Dwayne altyd bring, jy weet, daai harde Dwayne Vermeulen spel.
Rassie, hoe bekommerd is julle oor ons sering verder as hierdie game?
Ja, ons. Ek dink ons is baie belangrijk oor ons. Nee, ons is vir ons vital. Ons het vir ons al baie goed gedoen. En ek moet sê, hy het uitstekend gelyk in die oefeninge. Ek dink hy en Kitsie het mekaar hard gedruk. Met Trevor wat albei kante kan speel, Thomas wat albei kante kan speel, Vincent kan albei kante speel. Is altyd geruststellend, maar ek hoop nie dis te ernstig nie, want dit is regtig hoe hy geoefen het en hoe hy laaste deurkom, en selfs ons ownership wat hy vat van sy posisie en die rol en bietjie leierskappe, hy begin baie ander goeders wys, behalwe net goed skram, ook in meetings en goeders, begin hy regtig in sy eie vel baie gemaklik raak en dinge sê, en ja, ek hoop nie dis 'n ernstige besering, ek dink dit sal 'n groot slag wees.
So can we just get the same question as English, please? After on Ox.
On Ox. Okay. Yeah, no, if Ox is a serious one, which I personally got a gut feel it's a serious one, because he's not the kind of guy that will normally not finish a training session. Yeah, if he's out, I personally think it's a big loss. Ox has really come into his own the last year, I would say, and the way he's contributing, not just on the field and in scrums, it's in sessions and taking ownership of being a Springbok and understanding what we're trying to do, and finding solutions and leading in a lot of the departments for us, and really pushing guys like Kitsie really hard. There's other guys who can play both sides, Trevor, Thomas, Vincent can play both sides, but I think if we lose Ox, it will, for a long time, hopefully not a World Cup round, that will be really not nice, but yeah, I hope it's not serious, because I think he's a vital player for us currently.
Afrikaanse vraag so met Jacques, gelukkig is dit nie die onder 20 wêreldkampioenskap wat in die Kaap plaasvind of in Saterdag is. Ek praat van die weer. Wat verkies julle? 'n 5-uur wedstryd of 'n 3-uur wedstryd of maak dit nie saak?
Nee, ek dink dit maak vir ons saak nie. Ja, 5 uur of 3 uur, nee, glad nie. Geensins. Maar dieselfde. Ek dink ons verkies maar dit gaan in die wêreldbeker wees. Dit is altyd moeilik of is vir ons snaaks om 'n 9 uur wedstryd te speel. Wat weer baie gemaklik is vir Frankryk. Ek dink die meeste van top 14 wedstryde in Frankryk gebeur baie later in die aande. So dis ietsie om aan te pas, maar ons sal gewoon raak daaraan in terme van die opbou na die wêreldbeker toe.
Ook die Wallabies kon die Bokke nog nooit op beloftes wen nie. Is dit dalk kan dit dalk miskien 'n mate van oorgerusheid by die hele prysvang?
Nee, geensins. Ek dink nie met die kwaliteit van spelers wat Eddie hiernatoe gebring het en met Eddie self en met sy bestuurspan en nuwe afrigtingsspan sal dit enigstens lig of gerus wees nie, glad nie. Ons verwag 'n taai stryd teen Australië.
So guys, we've got one last request, one English question, and we'll wrap it up.
Rassie, you spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, but Derek Houcott's now out of hospital. You know, he seems to be over the worst. Having a test match here in Pretoria now, does that add a little bit more to it, make it a little bit more special, you know, to see that he's now over the worst and hopefully on his way back to a full recovery and the Boks playing here this weekend?
Yeah, we just saw one of our friends of Munster passed away tragically, I think yesterday. When somebody is ill or somebody's lost someone, you know, it's sad. Or also want to say to everybody on the Munster side and on the Irish side, he's actually a Scottish friend of ours that we worked with closely when we were at Munster for him and his family. I know his son is playing for Ireland in the 20s, and then also we're very happy that a guy like Derek is getting better. As I'm saying, I'm not on top of that. We don't know all the ins and outs, but it's just great news to hear he's getting better, and we're playing at Loftus. I know he was the lifelong of Loftus, so hopefully we can do that for him as well.
Guys, you will wrap it up with Arthur?
Russ, just on the 20s, I know you touched on it last week. Has it surprised you how things have seemingly quickly changed, not only in senior rugby, but also now senior and junior rugby, with the Northern Hemisphere teams showing?
Yeah, I think definitely France and Ireland is doing something fantastic right in their junior rugby. Italy also, I think Italy just lost to Georgia. So, yeah, I think the junior rugby is really, it's not an excuse. Everybody had it. I think what happened with COVID is a lot of continuity, getting your hands on youngsters, getting them into academies, getting them to under 17 camps, getting them to under 18 Craven weeks. I think there was always a time where we're going to feel a little bit of a dip in that pipeline just because of that vacuum that was there. But then again, the other countries, I don't know if they were, well, Italy was a country who went severely through COVID. I remember one of their players was actually an ambulance driver at one stage to help out there. So that can't be an excuse, but no, I think you're right. It's becoming so competitive and professional at all the tiers. But I think, luckily in a way for us, Georgia beat Italy, and I think we just have to beat Argentina to go through. But that will still be a really, really tough one for us.
Is it surprising the closing of the gap?
Yes, that's what I mean. It's definitely, yeah. I mean, Georgia is a grind, Italy is a grind. You know, the Irish drew and they beat some of the best teams. And if you just look at the amount of players in Ireland, I mean, the country's got 4 million people. There's not a lot of professional rugby players there. So they're really doing things really well. And it's really competitive. You can't say who's going to win what.
Thank you very much, guys. Good afternoon.